swap with Yvonne Preston over on YouTube, and we agreed to do 3 signatures, a soft cover. So I used some leftover cereal box, or it was a cracker box, something like that, for my cover. We also were using a vintage theme, so that's what we got here, is a vintage theme. So this is, oh, and we also said for the size to be within 5 by 7.5, so that's what I got here. So the front, I've laid down some paper that has old advertisement on it, and then I decoupaged this napkin over the top of it, and I think it turned out really pretty and soft and vintage looking. I used lots of vintage laces, as you can see. So I added this little vignette here at the bottom with a key and or a lock and some cheesecloth and this cute little flower. On the spine, I have this beautiful ruffled trim that I put on it, or ribbon, whatever you want to call it. And then I added this little charm that has a key to open the lock for the book, and then I stamped on a tag and added that to it. Here's the back side with the decoupaged napkin, so it looks slightly different, has a little postcard on it. Let's delve inside to this thing. So like I said, it's 3 signatures. On the inside, I also used some paper that has old advertisements on it. I thought it was just too pretty to really cover up much. And same with this paper. This is one that has old advertisements. I kind of stuck with the neutrals and green tones. I added some old book pages, added little pieces of laces, a little tag I made. I didn't do any tea dyeing for any of the papers because all the papers are vintage, and so I wanted to leave them as they were in their own beauty. These papers are vintage as well. They're not like white. If you hold it up against an actual new notebook, you can see the age of it. But I also did add some stencils of, looks like the coffee cups, just to add to the vintage aged look of it on all those. Some old ledger paper, some old school paper, an old doily that is just beautiful, and a glass paper dessert bag here. A little bag there with to make a pocket. I was gifted all these tags that I added in here from a swap I did, and I thought that they would be perfect tuck spots in here. So I've added some vintage division card there in that one, old music sheet paper, old printer paper. And then the few pages that are new are the designer pages that I put in here, and I aged them up a little bit. Some old music lined paper that you can write your own music on. Some of the Diary of the Edwardian Lady paper in here. Lots of little pieces of lace, crocheted lace. I have from Victoria magazines in the 70s. My mom collects Victoria magazines, and my cousin did as well. My cousin decided to get rid of hers, and so I took them and I tore out all the pages that have the advertisements on it to make my own little advertisement bags. Nick the booksmith had talked about doing that, and I thought it was a great use for these because I had them all torn out and I just didn't know what to do with them. So I made my own little advertisement bags, and I have this little tag in this one. Some old map sheet music, or not music, map sheet paper. And there's a center of the signature. I added some old shorthand pages from a book in here. Flipped it on with this little clip I made. Some recipe cards that I have tea-dyed in the past that I have in my stash. This beautiful trim here. So this is going to be the second side of all the pages we just looked through. This is a tag that was given to me in a swap. It was plain and I stenciled on it. There's a little note card here that's attached to the bag so you can make some notes. And then in here I have some old guest checks that I tea-dyed. And a little card in that little envelope there, or bag. I added a little envelope here with a piece of pretty paper for being able to journal on. Some old book pages again with fun illustrations on them. And that's the first signature. Here's the second signature. Lots of pretty pages. This is a vintage piece of paper from a book that I was given in a swap. I don't know what book it's from, but I love the bird on it, and I thought it went with the theme of this book since I kind of ended up doing birds. And then I have some old vintage line note cards that I added here. That's coming apart. And some more of the Edwardian Lady Diary cards, pages. This tag I decoupaged a napkin on, and then did some script stamping on the back just for some decoration there. Another guest check. This one I just left plain because it has the advertising, and this is the cut off the paper that I did on the front and back cover of the book. Center of the signature. So all the same pages. Here is another tag from a swap that and this I got from the same swap that I am reusing in this book because I thought they went beautifully with this book. Here's another little tag I did that I stamped on. Here's another paper clip I made, and I added this vintage tag from a furniture company, to from tag in here for Yvonne. And then I've added another one of the tea-dyed recipe cards and the tea-dyed guest check cards. But I've also added this beautiful antique postcard that it's hard to tell what the date is on here because there's some writing across the stamp and it's not very legible, but it is very old. Look at these fun illustrations. I really like this book I have that has these pages in it. And that's the second signature, and here's the third signature with some pretty music print on a designer paper. Some more of the Edwardian Lady, the Diary of an Edwardian Lady book pages. I added a little bag and created a little tuck spot and added this little tag that I made in it. This is from a vintage newspaper, and I liked the advertisement for the flower, so I added that on there, stamped on the back side of it. This is from a vintage piece of paper, somebody's program from the memorial of their death. and so I liked the flower on it, so I added that there. Put a little pocket here with a little tag, and another division card and another recipe card in here. Guest check. More of the bags that I made. And here's my little tag that shows my shop information. This is from a vintage advertisement for a book. It had a little poem with it that was from the book, and I just loved the image, so I added that in here. It's a note card and postcard with let's see, Vincent van Gogh picture on it. A bag with a tag in it. Added this little sticker here and made a little tag to go into this card that has a number 11, this vintage card on it. The other end of the paper bag there. So some of them are empty, some of the little tuck spots are empty, so Yvonne can add to it. But others I added so that she could write on those, make little notes on those. And so that's the book. I hope she really likes it, and I had a lot of fun making it. I think it turned out really beautiful. I just love it. I wanted to share this with you guys before I sent it out to Yvonne, and I hope you guys like it, and I'll talk with you later. Bye.